Hi, my name is Father Demetrius Thomas, and if you can't tell by my robe and virtual background, I am a Benedictine monk and a Catholic priest. In recent days, my feeds on social media have been inundated with responses and comments on recent statements made by various people regarding Saint Damien de Vesta, or Worcester, also or more commonly called Saint Damien of Molokai. Now, there has been calls by the gentle lady, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as well as others, decrying him as a white supremacist, as a force of colonial authority, as somebody who did not care for the natives and did not love them, or did not do so for appropriate motives. And though I have seen many well thought out and wonderful responses done with, to be honest, much better production quality than me, I nevertheless feel that I should make a little video. Because my background is as a history teacher. And one of the things I've learned about the past is that it is often best to allow people's own words to explain their actions, particularly if primary sources are available that were not designed to be consumed by the public, sources that were not meant to be read, except for the person who received it. Because it is in these primary sources that the individual has no intention or no need or no purpose to lie. And so I would like to read to you a letter written by Father Damien to his brother. And it is a letter dated from the 1870s, describing his arrival at Molokai, his reasons for going to Molokai, and how he interacted with the people present there. Now, yes, in this letter, you will see Father Damien note the races of people. He will note if somebody is a white man, for example. But it is clear from the text that he is saying it more as a means of description, just as you would describe my robe black instead of white, to denote me as a Benedictine from the Cistercian. So too, Father Damien makes distinctions clear. But he does not allow these distinctions to affect how he treats the individual, how he loves them. In fact, whether you were white or native, Catholic, or of another sect, or of another faith, he treated you and loved you the same. So, the following letter is written by St. Damien. The changes and emphasis added by bolding certain aspects of the text and by enlarging certain lines is my own. Letter dated November 25th, 1873, from Molokai. My dear brother, God has deigned to choose your unworthy brother to assist the poor people attacked by that terrible malady so often mentioned in the gospel, leprosy. For the last 10 years, this plague has been spreading in the islands, and at last the government felt itself obligated to isolate those affected with it. Shut up in a corner of the island of Molokai, between inaccessible cliffs and the sea, these unfortunate creatures are condemned to perpetual exile. Out of 2,000 in all who have been sent here, some 800 are still living, and among them a certain number of Catholics. A priest was wanted, but here was a difficulty. For, as all communication was forbidden with the rest of the islands, a priest who should be placed here must consider himself shut up with the lepers for the rest of his life. And Monsignor Margaret, our vicar apostolic, declared that he would not impose this sacrifice on any of us. So, remembering that on the day of my profession, I had already put myself under the funeral pall. I offered myself to his lordship to meet, if he thought it well, this second death. Consequently, on the 11th of last May, a steamer landed me here, together with a batch of 50 lepers, whom the authorities had collected in the island of Hawaii. I found on my arrival a little chapel dedicated to Saint Philomena, but that was all. No house to shelter me. I lived a long time under the shelter of a tree, not wishing to sleep under the same roof as the lepers. Later on, the whites of Honolulu, having assisted me with their subscriptions, I was able to build myself a hut, 16 feet long and 10 wide, where I am now writing these lines. Well, I have been here 6 months, surrounded by lepers, and I have not caught the infection. I consider this shows the very special protection of our good God and the Blessed Virgin Mary. Leprosy, as far as is known, is incurable. It seems to begin by a corruption of the blood. Discolored patches appear on the skin, especially on the cheeks, and the parts affected lose their filling. After a time, this discoloration covers the whole body. Then ulcers begin to open, chiefly at the extremities. The flesh is eaten away and gives out a foul and fetid odor. Even the breath of the leper becomes so foul that the air around is poisoned with it. I have had great difficulty in getting accustomed to such an atmosphere. One day at Sunday Mass, I found myself so stifled that I thought I must leave the altar to breathe a little of the outside air. But I restrained myself, thinking of our Lord when he commanded them to open the grave of Lazarus. Notwithstanding Martha's words, there will be a stench. Now, my senses of smell does not cause me so much inconvenience, and I enter the huts of the lepers without difficulty. Sometimes, indeed, I still feel the repugnance when I have to hear the confession of those near their end, whose wombs are full of maggots. Often, also, I scarce know how to administer extreme unction, when both hands and feet are nothing but raw wounds. This may give you some idea of my daily work. Picture to yourself a collection of huts with 800 lepers. No doctor. In fact, as there is no cure, there seems no place for a doctor's skill. A white man who is a leper, and your humble servant, do all the doctoring work. Every morning, then, after my Mass, which is always followed by an instruction, I go to visit the sick, half of whom are Catholics. On entering each hut, I begin by offering to hear their confession. Those who refuse the spiritual help are not therefore refused temporal assistance, which is given to all, without distinction. Consequently, every one, with the exception of a very few bigoted heretics, look on me as a father. As for me, I make myself a leper, with the lepers, to gain all to Jesus Christ. This is why in preaching I say, we lepers, not my brethren, as in Europe. You may judge by the following fact what a power the missionary has. Last Saturday, with some younger people discontented with their lot and thinking themselves ill-treated by the government, determined to attempt a revolt. All except two were Calvinists and Mormons. Well, I only had to present myself and say a word or two, and all the heads were bowed, and all was over. I have baptized more than 100 persons since my arrival. A good part of these have died with the white robe of baptismal grace. I have buried also a large number. The average of deaths is about 1 every day. Many of us are destitute that there is nothing to defray their burial expenses. They are simply wrapped in a blanket. As far as my duties allow me time, I make coffins myself for these people. Don't send me any more mass intentions. I have more than I can manage. It is well known that we do everything gratis. But our good master knows how to repay us, or rather, he has already repaid us. If our Lord were to ask me, when I sent you without purse or script or shoes, was anything wanting to you? I should certainly have to reply, Nihil Domini, nothing, Lord. In fact, after leaving all I had a Kohala for Father Fabian, I came here without anything. I have not a penny of income. Yet, I want for nothing. I have even alms to give away. How is this to be explained? That is his secret, who promised to give 100-fold to those who gave up all for him. I have just built another chapel, 2 miles from this, at the other end of our settlement. This chapel cost me 1,500 francs, without counting my work as a carpenter. And I am only 25 francs in debt. St. Joseph is my protector. Our sisters of Honolulu send me clothes, and some charitable souls do the rest. A few months back, the Minister of the Interior, the Home Secretary, forbid me to set foot outside the leper settlement. I was then a state prisoner. Today, a dispatch from the French consul announces my liberty. Blessed be God. I can now not only take care of my lepers, but labor also for the conversion of the rest of the island, in which there is not yet any other priest. I ought to have a companion, but where can I get one? Pray, and get prayers that the Lord may bless my mission. Your brother in the Sacred Hearts, Damien. This letter was taken from The Life and Letters of Father Damien, Apostle to the Lepers. It is a book available on Kindle. All rights are reserved to them for the translation. Again, we see in Father Damien's words, the words of a new priest coming to the island, the words of a man who has no reason to lie about his motives, or his work, or his mission. A man not asking for anything else, no alms, nothing from those whom he's writing, except prayers. A man who loves his people. A man who, in one of the most powerful homilies I have ever read, upon hearing of his actual contraction of the disease of leprosy, will begin his next homily, his next instruction, with the words, "Now I can truly say, we lepers." So yes, Father Damien has done great things. Yes, he is a white man, and the rotunda is full of statues of white men. But if we wish to have examples for our children, if we wish for the rotunda and its statues to be witnesses to the better parts of humanity, who would you replace him with that can provide a better witness, that can provide such a loving example of caring for everyone without distinction, of loving every human soul? Thank you for your time. Again, I apologize for my errors in reading. Reading publicly is a difficulty of mine, and I understand the irony in that as a priest. Also, I apologize for any difficulties in the audio or visual content. My budget is limited, but I am trying. God bless you and keep you.